I'm looking at the quarterbacks with the most pressure.
Yeah.
And I know where I would start. I think this guy's got the most pressure. I'm curious who you think the quarterback who will be under the most pressure playoff time.
DP, this one gonna shock you because the normal is Matthew Stafford. I think that's been like the overall Aaron Rodgers. Has anybody ever thought about that? Has anybody watched how that offseason transpired? The only way to keep this noise quiet is to go win a Super Bowl. Because look, Aaron has played at the MVP level. I think he's the MVP. And by the way, Aaron is not my favorite guy. Okay. I don't love to see what Aaron Rodgers is talking about, but I do have a healthy respect for how he's been able to keep his game at this level. And he's been able to carry a team for a long time. But DP, we sitting here not knowing after a restructured contract if he's going to return to Green Bay. He spent an entire offseason at odds with the franchise. He needed players, so they relented and brought in Randall Cobb, even though Randall Cobb has been hurt. They made some concessions for him. Does anybody think about Aaron Rodgers' responsibility to the Green Bay Packers and the rest of this football team? We expect him to at least make it to the NFC Championship, and that's where the buck has stopped for him for so many years. He got to get to a Super Bowl and win it, man. Or at some point, we got to say, like we do for every other star, he couldn't get it done. He just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Matthew Stafford and Josh Allen are 1-2 on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would put Dak Prescott in there just because he's the quarterback of the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are a year ahead of schedule. Because I don't know if they knew what they had in Diggs and Micah Parsons. Now they realize that, and you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. Ben doesn't have any pressure on him. Joe Burrow doesn't have pressure on him. Derek Carr doesn't have pressure on him. Brady always has pressure, but it feels like he wants the pressure. He's an underdog. Yeah. He didn't get the MVP. Now he's an underdog. You got a chip on his shoulder. I love that. I just don't know how good they are because that defense hasn't been what it was in the Super Bowl.
DP, I tell people all the time, it's okay. It's not taboo to say Aaron Rodgers is under pressure. Like, how many years did we spend talking about Drew Brees in order to enter the conversation of the greats? We know Aaron's talent is unbelievable, but in order for Drew to enter the conversation of the greats, to have him be a part of the all-time top 5 or whatever you want to put in conversation, he needed more than one. Aaron Rodgers has been stopped in the NFC Championship a lot.
Yeah.
Now imagine if this was a LeBron James getting stopped in the Eastern or Western Conference Finals all of these times, the conversation that would go on. Imagine if this was the Yankees when Steinbrenner and they had all of this talent and spent all of this money and they couldn't make it out of the conference, out of the series. So I don't necessarily equate pressure to if a guy is going to have the rest of his career or if he's going to be good. I equate pressure to how did you perform, what is expected of you, and then in Aaron's case, he entered a different nuance by the battle between him and the Green Bay Packers this offseason. So, I mean, I think it's a failure if they don't win a Super Bowl. It was all about nothing.
Well, I look at the Packers in 2020, 13 wins. 2021, 13 wins. The defense in 2020 ranked 13th. This year's team ranked 13th in defense. You have home field advantage. That Tampa team that, if they do come to town, will not be as formidable as they were a year ago. And Aaron has not done well in title games, even when he's hosted those title games. Well, Peyton Manning went through this as well, where, Peyton's playoff record wasn't very good. But do we hold quarterbacks, accountable in a different way than we do other athletes in other sports? Because you mentioned LeBron right. And, that there's certain sports or baseball pitchers, players, but when it comes to quarterbacks, our bottom line is winning championships. Yes. But I think people don't realize how Aaron has not performed, or at least the Packers haven't, when they get to the NFC title game.
They're not, DP, because they're blinded by all of the greatness. in the individual and the talent and the balls that we see Aaron Rodgers throw and the wins and how much he accounts for. Listen, this is not a conversation about if Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer or one of the top quarterbacks ever. It's about his resume. The reason why we call Tom Brady the GOAT is because of championships. Tom Brady don't have a drop of the talent that a lot of quarterbacks we've seen have. Tom Brady don't have Elway talent. He don't have Dan Marino's talent. He don't have Steve Young's talent or Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes. But in those moments where you need to be great is what we judge these level of quarterbacks on. And that's why he's considered the GOAT. He's considered the GOAT because you would put all of your money in your house on Tom Brady in the last drive of a football game to get his team to a championship. Aaron Rodgers has not done that. Now I'm mad at Matt LaFleur. Last year, I believe that was a lot on him of not letting him have the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter, but he also had 3 turnovers. He also gave the ball away in that game as well. So I don't just subscribe to, individual talent as making you the GOAT. As far as what did you do? How did you elevate in those particular moments? I fight with Dan Orlovsky about this all the time. Okay. He goes to bat for every quarterback because every quarterback is good in the NFL to Dan Orlovsky. But I tell him all the time, man, we're not judging Carson Wentz on if he can throw a touchdown in the first quarter of a football game when you on your first 15-play script and it's hard as hell for the defense to figure out what you're doing. We judge Carson Wentz when you're down to Jacksonville and you throw 2 damn interceptions or you make a bonehead play and fumble the football. We judge Baker Mayfield on the Cleveland Browns are good and they get the ball into the fourth quarter and he throws an interception in the Kansas City game. Or he can't get it done. And then that's where we judge quarterbacks. We see Aaron do that all year long. And for some reason in these NFC championships, he cannot overcome that hurdle. So we'll see if he can this year. I believe he can. I don't think his talent lends itself to not having that ability. He just hasn't done it.